The third day of our cruise brought us to Athens. We took a cab from the ship to the historic area, looking at the sights along the way. We're back on foot to approach the Acropolis. The Parthenon is the main attraction atop, and it was nice to see it as we approached. We had determined earlier that we'd prefer to just explore on our own rather than wait in lines to see the most popular attractions. As we got closer, we could see the crowd and decided to take my son Michael's advice and enjoy the view from a nearby park. It was rocky and risky for my ankles, but it let us see all around that part of Athens. It was nice to see so many of these elegant public water stations in Greece and Italy. After the Acropolis, we searched the map for some other nearby attractions. The National Garden was not too far, so we started in that direction. On the way, we went through the Arch of Hadrian, beside some temple ruins, and through another garden. We went inside this elegant hall, then on to the main part of the National Garden. On the map, I saw we were just across the road from the garden of the presidential palace. That sounded promising. On the way out to the road, there was a tree that had grown around the fence section. Fun to see, and it made it easier to get across the fence. As we walked towards the presidential palace, there was a crowd gathered on the sidewalk. We had to get closer to figure out what everyone was looking at. It took a minute to put together what we were seeing. It was not something for Monty Python. It was the changing of the guard in front of the presidential palace. It was so much fun to just stumble into the opportunity to see this. We certainly hadn't planned this into our trip. After the crowd dissipated, we went up a little ways back into the National Garden and enjoyed the trees and other landscaping. In this part of the garden were signs about a zoo. We saw some cages, not many animals. They seemed to specialize in birds of different types. The next day, we docked at Mykonos, another Greek island. It was different than Santorini in many ways. We took a shuttle bus a few miles to the old port area, then walked to see the sights. Part of the walk was along the seaside where another Greek cat got in the picture. The streets were narrow and often had beautiful decor. As we walked through town in the morning, we saw lots of little delivery vehicles, and I got to wondering, they must have a system for staying out of each other's way, and with each vehicle stopping to unload, it could be a logistical nightmare. Our trip didn't involve lots of getting in the water, but we did get to swim and lay on the beach here. Windmills are a big part of the history, and the island has plenty of wind. I kind of expected modern wind generators somewhere on the island, but we never saw them. Mykonos was a pleasant place to visit, very clean, and the white buildings against the blue sky and the blue sea were striking. The day after Mykonos, we stopped at Olympia. The port is Katakolo, and Olympia is about an hour bus ride away. Of course, we're expecting to see ruins of ancient history, and here's one. They used to do ancient rituals with strange potions in darkened rooms in places like this. We didn't see the main tourist attraction, but we took a nice walk around the outside of the Museum of the History of the Olympic Games, then through the Botanical Garden. We had wonderful fruit drinks at this place and learned that the unique trees were called platanos trees. As we rode the bus back to Katakalo, we hoped we could find the little museum we passed on the way out of town. It's the Museum of Ancient Greek Technology. There were wonderful displays and models of all kinds of winches and cranes with info on how they were used to move big stones and other loads. There were military weapons, including giant spear launchers and a flamethrower made to burn through castle doors, and movable buildings that they would push up next to a castle and climb up inside, hoping they'd be safe from the arrows and flames from the top of the wall just long enough to breach the wall. The entryway was noisy because they had working demos of water-driven bird sounds used as alarms and timers. Brilliant inventions, and it was fun because almost all of them were simple enough so you could see the geometry and physics of how they worked. Another stop for a snack, then it's back on the ship to depart Greek waters.